ISIS wanted to take a bow for what happened in Las Vegas. So far, authorities there say there's no reason to think ISIS was behind it. It might have just been Paddock acting on his own. He could have had help preparing for it, but not ISIS-related help. Way too early to say. This much is not. Tara Mauler says that we have to be vigilant. Former CIA military analyst Tara Mauler on that. What does that mean, Tara? You and I talk about this a lot, about being vigilant, about being aware of what ISIS wants to do. They still want to inflict a great deal of damage. They want to recruit people to inflict that damage. How do we stay on top of that?
Sure. It means not just being vigilant in terms of law enforcement and intelligence collection efforts, which NYPD and police and the FBI all around the country are doing on a daily basis, but it means that everybody has a role to play. In many of these cases where we see radicalization occur, whether that's online radicalization, whether that's someone traveling overseas, there are people who know about it. There are family members, there are close friends, there are work colleagues, there are associates. There are people that after an attack happens, when hindsight is put into play, hindsight's 20/20, and the signs were there. So it's up to individuals to be aware of the signs. If somebody's behavior is changing, if somebody's becoming radicalized, if somebody's purchasing an arsenal of weaponry in a short period of time. These are things that should raise red flags, and these are things that are worth reporting in many cases to law enforcement. And in some cases, these individuals may already be on law enforcement's radar.
Do you think it's a little outside what we had agreed to talk about, Tara, but you can help me with my ignorance here? Obviously, Paddock had a lot of rounds of ammunition, 1,600 rounds of ammunition in his car, 1,000 rounds of this tracer ammo that would light up where his weaponry, his bullets in this case, were going. He had 50 pounds of this explosive tannerite. He had a number of fertilizer compounds and a lot of chemical names attached to them, of course, bought in 50-pound increments also in his car. Two questions then. What do you think he was planning? Secondly, would someone have to have helped him with just that portion?
Sure. Well, it seems from at least the FBI's briefing and the police department's briefing on the matters that they think he may have been planning for an escape to do something else, or he may have had multiple scenario planning, because he did have explosives in the car that weren't used, and he did have a large number of weapons. So it's possible that in the planning stages, we know he scoped out other properties. Maybe he had other potential ideas or things that he was thinking about carrying out. In terms of assistance, I mean, right now they're saying there's no active, co-conspirator. There was no second attacker in the room. That's the theory of the case as publicly stated by law enforcement. That doesn't mean that people weren't aiding or abetting him, potentially somewhat knowingly or perhaps unknowingly or unwillingly in various ways, whether that was financially and not knowing that they were assisting or transferring finances for this, whether it was in terms of not doing high levels of scrutiny regarding some of these purchases of explosive material and of weaponry, whether that was close family or friends that may have seen signs that they missed. So I think that what you're going to see over the next few weeks is, as they talk to more and more people, hopefully they'll get a better understanding of how this was able to happen, or if there was any assistance anywhere. The strange thing here to date right now is there's been nothing publicly stated that goes to motive. We have a clear case of premeditation here and planning, but really there's been little to no evidence of any clear motive. And that's what makes this both troubling but also befuddling and mind-boggling, because usually in most cases, domestic terrorism, mass shootings, after the fact, it's usually pretty easy to go back and find, after the crime has occurred, find those pieces of evidence of motive, whether that's through a digital trail, online, emails, text communications, or whether that's through a note that's left or through conversations with people close to the individual.
Tara, thank you very, very much. Tara Mauler.